Welcome back to the Living After Bathtime podcast. This is episode 2. We're here at Van Coke Studios in Greenpoint, Cape Town. Sitting next to me, per usual, my good buddy, old buddy, the legend, Stanley Ziv.
Lovely to be here, Jed. 42 YouTube subscribers can't be wrong. I think
you made it, dude.
You know,
And,
the difficult second album.
Our captain on the sound and head producer, in fact, only producer at Van Coke Studios, Richard Onret. It's great to be back. Our first guest this evening, we're really excited. For all your foodies out there, he is the Canadian MasterChef judge, Claudio Aprile, and also restaurateur. And he's my Instagram buddy, and hence the reason for him being on the show.
Yeah, well, you'll tell us all about it later, about how you actually came to meet him. It's a bit of a
it's an interesting
story.
Yeah, very good story. Tell me, how's the family? How are the kids? How was bath time?
Yeah, that's all good, Jed. How about you?
Bath time was fine with me.
Jed, you've been busy, bro. Your first single dropped recently. Your first solo single, I should say. You're off to Vegas soon for the World Series of Poker.
I did release a single.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it, Jed. I haven't seen you in a while.
The single was a song that I kind of wrote for my daughter. I did write for my daughter.
Did get me in a little bit of trouble at home, I'll be honest. I think
the song got you into trouble.
No, the fact that you wrote a song for your kid. And the missus turns around.
And you haven't written one for her. Now, I've already been tuned that, I need Rocky's music video must come out and that song. So I'm also getting the same brand. No, it was a song that I wrote for her just about kind of projecting that. I never thought that I would have girls. I always thought that my family is just as boys. So I thought I was in the clear with that one. But then I had a girl and I was always nervous about having a girl and having that sort of worry as a dad, when she's a teenager and going out with boys and stuff like that. So the song's kind of about me stopping her from having too much fun as a teen, and how she's going to hate me for it. So that was kind of the
Well, I think, at least you know what to look out for with the boys and all that, because, you speak from personal
That's how I'm going to
experience.
protect her from teenage boys like
people
me.
like
you know what I mean?
exactly.
From especially our year group at school from back in the day.
And Vegas, tell us about Vegas.
Yeah, so I leave on the 15th of June, and I'm playing a few tournaments at the World Series of Poker, which is I'm a poker player, so I'm very excited about.
Right.
My first time there.
Well, may your cards
we used
be
to play
live
a lot
and your
of
pots be
poker back in the
monsters.
Milnerton garage.
Back in the garage, yes. But unfortunately, I could no longer sponsor all of you guys. The budget just wouldn't allow it. So that was the end of the poker game.
Let's just say Stan was the biggest contributor to the pot back in the day.
Let me tell you, Pocket Fours is a very underrated hand. I'm sure your Vegas chums will tell you that when you get there.
Maybe the World Series would appreciate you coming along. And
No, they wouldn't appreciate. No, they don't want
So
to.
they do.
No, I don't think so.
So yeah, we played Texas Hold'em. We started playing when we were youngsters. What were we playing back in the day? 16, 17? Playing poker
I
in the
came in a
garage.
bit later, but yeah. I mean, you've
Okay.
been hitting the cards for a while.
Yeah, no, I've always loved playing poker. So
Can I say good luck? Is it like acting where you're not supposed to say good luck? You have to say break a leg, or is good luck is that okay in the poker schools?
good luck is okay. You need.
I'm not putting a hex on you.
No, you need combination of luck and skill. So, I'm
definitely wishing you good luck.
Thanks.
I actually want to Google this. Can you say good luck for gambling?
Thank you, Richie.
Yes,
I'm coming. Can you say good luck for gambling?
Well, there's another question whether poker is even just gambling. I think so.
skilled gambling.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, I don't know about you, Jedi, but
It says
nothing.
nothing.
I don't think that question's ever even been asked into Google.
I don't think so. I think I may have been the first one, to be honest, and I'm happy with that.
So put an answer. Is there somewhere you can put an answer just to bullshit people?
Look,
And we can start a new thing. Like, no, you can't say good luck. You actually have to say there's a fish in your eye or something silly. And then it'll catch on.
Can you do John Malkovich in Rounders impression? And you could just,
No.
the kid beat me. You don't know.
Apparently you can't do it either.
Chick.
Yeah, there we go. Even Richie knows it's Dan.
Come on, Stan.
It's not that I don't know it. I just didn't want to put myself out there to do it.
Okay.
But Rounders was a great film.
was good.
I don't know. Doesn't it seem like poker was everywhere a couple of years ago? It was like, I don't know, the buzz just caught on and there were like all these poker movies coming out. But none of them were like really that that
Yeah,
great. I remember
they-
there was that one with Eric Banner and Drew Barrymore. It was horrible. But like Rounders was, I think it was nice. They got in before like it became trendy.
Rounders was the king poker movie. I mean, everybody still quotes that out of any of the poker movies. I'm trying to think. There was another one, Marley's Game. I don't know if you saw Marley's Game. That was about the high stakes. A girl named Marley used to run like very high stakes cash games. Like Toby Maguire was playing and all these insane high buy-ins. But yeah, Rounders was a classic. I mean, basically the poker took quite a nice boom when obviously COVID hit, and then everyone started playing online.
Yeah.
And then there was a little bit of a mini. The original poker boom was like 2003 with Moneymaker and the World Series, and then there was a little bit of an online poker boom in 2019. But yeah, but anyways, the World Series I'm really excited about going to play. I have no expectations. Going to just go there, play my best.
Okay, well, have a
if
fish
I
in
come
your
back
eye.
with nothing, I should probably not come home because I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be gone for close to a month. So my wife is not
As long as you
super.
As long as you lose your money at the tables and nowhere else in Vegas, you can still come home.
A month worth of bath times missed, eh? Just saying.
That's a lot of bath times missed. 25 bath times. I'm going to take a lifetime to make this up to her. What am I going to do?
You'll think of something.
You literally played all your cards in one hand.
And if I come home with nothing, will you take me in as a...
Well, yeah. If we keep doing the show as late as we are, I think both of us are going to be sleeping on these couches.
It's very comfortable.
Yeah.
And why don't you speak about this a bit? We've got.
Well, we're drinking some rye this evening in honor of our Canadian guest. We are not sponsored by Canadian Club, but reach out. Why not? Just a little bit of rye whiskey. I thought, it was fitting with the Canada theme. It was that or just drinking straight maple syrup, and I think that's probably healthier.
How was your knowledge on the Canadian sports? It's figure skating's big, ice hockey.
I don't know.
What are the other big sports there in Canada?
Curling? I don't know. What are you asking me?
Isn't curling your new favorite sport?
I've always enjoyed curling. I mean, that's one of the highlights of the Winter Olympics. I think next to the ones where they ski and shoot the rifle. Because, why not?
And
I wish we had something completely arbitrary like that in the Summer Olympics, though.
Something like curling.
I don't know, hopscotch, and then you have to, I don't know,
shoot
someone. I don't know, something arbitrary. It just seems weird. But anyway, lots of fun.
Okay, wait. Your favorite artists from Canada?
Favorite artists
Let's
in Canada?
talk about some music here.
Well, it's a strong field. They punch above their weight for sure.
They do, definitely.
I mean, Leonard Cohen, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, 4/5 of the band.
That's right.
Yeah.
Canadian.
I mean,
Actually,
not everybody's favorite, but Bryan Adams is in there in the mix.
One of my favorite punk rock bands, Billy Talent's actually Canadian, right, Richie?
Yeah, as far as
Yeah.
Okay, we'll edit that out. Don't worry.
Okay, here's a question for you. Since you're not the biggest fan of Ed Sheeran, we spoke about.
No,
this in
not
the
this
first part.
again.
No, I'm asking you, how do you compare Justin Bieber, because he's Canadian, to Ed
Yeah.
Sheeran? Who would
I
you
think-
choose to go watch out of those two artists?
But why? I would. I don't know. I would maybe just go with Bieber just to be
Are you
spiteful.
a believer?
I'm not,
Would
but I
you
think just to
go
be
Ed
spiteful.
Sheeran? Huh?
No, you know why? Because I would go. I mean, you probably wouldn't go alone. You'd have to take the missus or the kids or something. I would go. I would hate it in both instances, but I would be expected to hate Bieber. So no one on the drive home would be, oh no, come on, you really enjoyed it. Just admit you enjoyed it. Because, that would be the conversation in the Ed Sheeran context. And so it would be easier to just not be hassled, I reckon.
Not be hassled to go. If you had to take your kids to one of the two, you have to sit through a 2-hour Bieber show or a 2-hour Ed Sheeran show.
Oh, wait. No, Jed. Why do you keep doing this
Richie?
to me?
I would say Bieber, to be honest. There's
2 hours
more.
of Bieber.
There's more musicians on stage. There's more to look at.
You think there'd be more of a show, like dancing and a bit of a production?
Absolutely.
And some...
Bieber has some of the best musicians I've ever seen live.
What's his drummer's name?
You saw Bieber live?
Sticks.
No, but I heard about it. I always happen to just be in the other end of the country when these shows are playing.
Because if you had been here, you would have gone to see him. This is what I'm trying to get at you, Richie.
The only reason I would go to see that show is number one, because my wife might force me. Number
Is
two,
your wife? Joey, let's talk about this. Is
my
Chelsea
wife is a great pop fan. She
Okay.
loves, let's
She a
call it
Bieber
slut
fan?
pop, basically.
Okay, wow.
It is what it is. She's the biggest Ariana Grande fan in the
I'm
world.
feeling very funny about teaching a guitar now. Back in the days, we used to do a lot of rock.
Well, obviously you didn't do your job right, so.
No, I mean, there's a place for it, I guess. But that's what I said last time. That was my issue with Sheeran. Is like, I understand people who are into Bieber and all that kind of stuff, because it is what it is. It's not trying to be anything else. It was the people who were thinking that, that Sheeran was some sort of like amazing, like, voice of the generation. Well, you might be. Just maybe the generation doesn't have a lot to say. But like, anyway, let's get off it. I don't want this to be week after week with Can this be the last Sheeran rant?
I've got one last comment to add to that.
Yeah.
And then a joke thereafter. If
Oh
you've got
my
the
God,
if you've
okay.
got the capacity and the patience to listen to Steely Dan, then a band that would sponsor Justin Bieber in a show is just as entertaining. And the joke goes, what do you call a person, or what do you call Stan when he listens to jazz rock? Steely Stan.
Oh my word. You've had a month since the last show to work on it, and that was the best you came up
Look,
with?
I'm firing short. It's okay.
It's all right.
Listen, you're allowed to make dad jokes.
You keep firing short, and you won't have to do Bathtime for a while.
Very nice.
He's
That was
got
better
cats.
than mine.
He doesn't have to do any bath.
All right. I will say this, Jed.
Yes.
I will say this. I don't know about you, but we're both turning 40 this year, and
That
it suddenly,
is scary.
it suddenly dawned on me that I've put absolutely zero effort into planning my midlife crisis. I don't know if this is it. Maybe the show is it, but like I haven't thought about like
Midlife, brother, I'm 2/3 of the way gone.
You're
Never mind.
with how you speak.
Midlife.
Uh,
You're lucky. You were lucky.
I mean, I haven't, started growing a ponytail or thought about like a motorbike. I've put zero effort into it.
What
I don't know.
is-
Maybe people out there put it in the comments below, like, or hashtag Stan's midlife crisis.
What
I don't
should
know,
Stan
like
do if he
what's
has
like
a
a
midlife crisis?
what's like a
Hardy.
worthwhile endeavor? Because I'm sure people have tried a lot of silly things. Some of them might have actually come off.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what would suit you. A Harley. You just change. You just all of a sudden just wear leather. Very Judas Priest. Hang out
Can I
on
tell
bars
you,
again. Because
when we were teenagers, for some reason or other, I always wanted leather pants, and I never got a pair. But like looking back on it now, I'm thankful that there isn't photographic evidence anywhere of me
of you wearing leather.
in leather
Dude,
trousers.
remember, we were very into the Doors at one point in time, and I was also very, very close to getting a pair of leather pants.
with the big belt back, like the. I'll tell you a true story. Speaking of the Doors, because this is how long we've known each other. When we used to order takeouts, Jed would always leave his name as either Jim Morrison or James Morrison
is
or whatever,
so-
and we'd go pick it up, order for Jim, and but I remember the first time it happened, I was like, Jed, what is that? He goes, no, I always leave my name as Jim
It was
Morrison.
my thing. I used to order. Dude, I completely forgot about it. I used to order from every restaurant in Milnerton, except Pizza Perfect where I worked was my first. But I used to order from every restaurant, and I would say it's for Jim Morrison, and then order for Jim. Yeah,
I want to
Can
know
we-
the thought process behind that.
it was just.
But can we just like handbrake there for a second and talk about the Doors? Because
Yeah.
I mean, like when we were growing up, I mean, Jim Morrison had been dead 20, 30 years. But it just seemed like he was everywhere. There was like the posters
Doors
and everyone
was
had the
big,
t-shirt.
okay?
Doors
In
was
the
huge, and it
90s,
just seems like
they-
everyone's forgotten about the Doors. Like the Doors are freaking amazing.
I feel like
everyone's talking about like Beatles and Stones and this, but Doors.
I feel like they were one of the great bands of all time, actually, and I think I've played it to Richie and a couple of the guys in the van, and I think they appreciate it, but I don't think they totally get it. Like how into it we were in the 90s.
We need to
you know
get
what I mean?
someone on the show who actually knows something about music, Jed, and pop culture, and maybe ask them what's happened to like the thirst for the Doors.
The first for the Doors, sure.
Do you not think maybe it was a time thing? You guys were around the right time for it to be I don't want to say relevant because it is still relevant in its own way. But if you talk about something like the Beatles, it is so long-standing that it will always remain relevant.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're up there with Led Zeppelin and all these oaks that are always in the conversation.
I think Led Zepp is bordering on a little too far these days. It takes a very niche ear to listen to that music.
I also think it's interesting. I think the Beatles obviously they're always for me in a completely different league. They're the number one of all time, the greatest band, and then you've got everything after that. You've got Zeppelin, you've got the Doors, you've got the Who. I really don't think kids these days are getting exposed to any of the Who or any of the Doors.
I mean, not to bring it back to the Ginger Menace, but is that not a little bit of what we were saying last time? Is that there's nothing wrong with him, but that Ed Sheeran shouldn't be as big as that. Do you think their tastes are just less sophisticated now? Like the Doors, certainly the long 6-7 minute arrangements, but even the 2-3 minute pop tunes, maybe they're too complex for the ears of the kids today. But I
think that music in that time represented something completely different. It was a way of expressing everything. It was you had none of these other distractions. You know what I mean? That life has presented to us now in the modern time. Music is something different to what it was back then. The style, the sound, it's not the same. It's not the same now. You know what I mean?
It's a quick fix scenario at the moment.
It's a quick fix,
It's
totally.
supply and demand. It's as quick as you can get it out, and the new hit is on its way already.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
the times have changed. There will never be something as epic as the Beatles ever again. Musically.
No, I'm not even expecting that. But it's just an appreciation thing. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like there might be hope. Like we've spoken a bit before about like Rick Beato's YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
And Rick is amazing, but he does like all the music from that era, and like he's got that thing, what makes a song great, and he's doing Led Zeppelin, the Doors, and all these kind of things, and he's got like huge following and all these views. So there's obviously a market out there somewhere for music that's not just kind of throwaway. So one day I think someone's just going to take a risk. Some record person, whatever, is just going to take a risk and like do it the way they used to do it. And I think the market will kind of plug in and will just, that sort of supply and demand thing will go, you know what, people actually do want decent stuff and stuff that's a little bit out there. And we'll just, and they'll go with it because the market will dictate it. And it's not like they'll all be in it for these like high-minded reasons. They'll be in it to make money, but I mean, it was the same way like Phil Spector was, trying to make hits, but they were still amazing.
I think the bands that are still giving it to the peeps are still the old school bands, Queens of the Stone Age, the Foo Fighters, Foo Fighters.
I'm not saying they're not out there, but like, where's the who are we passing the baton on to?
Yeah, doesn't seem Richie. Who's the new hit?
Well, I mean, who's that new Led Zeppelin band? I can't remember what their name is.
Oh, Greta Van Fleet.
That's the one.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I mean, it's a knockoff. I will say that. I'm going to be honest about that.
I'd rather knock Led Zeppelin off than knock off Ed Sheeran.
I actually have an idea. Stan, something came to my attention now as we were talking about Justin Bieber. And you do realize that he's touring here in September?
I know. Should we try get him on the show?
I think we should get you to his concert and document it. And just watch all your reactions to every song.
Please.
We just have a nice segue there during one of the episodes.
We have little rants during the songs of Stan. The camera
it's just his
pans
face, basically,
to...
and how disappointed he is at everything that happens at Greenpoint Stadium.
But the Greta Van Fleet, I struggle... I want to rather listen to a band that's exploring something different in the rock genre. So, like, say a band like Nothing But Thieves, who are very cool, who have a bit of a sound of, a bit of a Queens of the Stone Age, bit of a Radiate combined sound, and something more original than listening to a band play, trying to sound like Zeppelin. I just can't watch that. It's never going to be as good as the real thing.
No.
So,
exactly.
I would rather... find
well,
other
I think
band.
it also depends like on the direction that they go. They are sounding a bit like a Zeppelin cover band at the moment, but they've got the tools to work with. There's no faulting like the voice, the musicianship. I mean, they are pretty cool. So if they kind of veer off to do their own thing, it could be interesting. I mean, like you could say similar things to like Wolf Mother or whatever. Like when they came out, they also kind of sounded a little bit Zeppelin-y,
Very Zeppelin.
But I mean, they're cool. I mean, no one was knocking them. Maybe
I think they did it better because as much as they sounded like it, they also just demanded a style of their own. It was more hard rock than it was the psych rock that Led Zeppelin was, let's call it, back in the day. And I mean, I can't even classify it as psych rock. It was Led Zeppelin. They were pioneers of a certain sound. But where Greta Van Fleet is sounding exactly like them, their songs are just not as good, and they weren't the first. So ultimately, you've got a knockoff. Whereas Wolfmother have like just come. No, sorry, wrong band. They haven't just released a new album. No, Black Keys released a new album. Wolfmother had that tone to the voice, but they kind of took it somewhere else. Ultimately, I think
definitely there's an artist at the moment who is very epic. Have you heard Sam Fender?
No.
Oof,
Very cool. He's kind of like Bruce Springsteen.
He's like the Born in the UK. If
Born
I
in
can
the
put it that
UK
way.
Springsteen.
Can we pull up 7 seconds so we don't get in trouble?
Yeah, let's
of
play
course
something
you
of
can,
it.
but I can't unmute here. But I'll do it on my cell phone
Oh,
instead.
yeah.
I thought you had all the answers, Richie.
Because if I cannot tell whether this guy is something within 7 seconds, then
Let's give it
you know,
7 seconds of Sam Fender. He's very cool. He is kind of the British Springsteen. I said it's a good way of describing it.
Okay, the question is, what do we play? Because I've got my personal favorite.
Yeah, I'll just go with that. Ooh, a little bit of ride on the wrong pipe.
This song is called A.
Well, also for our Canadian friend, eh?
A. It's not playing for some. There we go.
Just play.
The intro's too long. We gotta get into copyright trouble.
Go.
Who's there?
I don't know. I'll give it a listen when in the coming weeks, and we can chat about it next episode.
I think we should. I think.
Yeah,
But he's very cool anyway. So he is a new art. There's still some cool shit coming out there. Don't get me wrong.
No, it's not like there's not.
Just
cool
in the
stuff.
rock genre per se, there's nothing like a System or a Rage or a.
Yeah, I still
or
think
Incubus
we're
or,
much better off than we were in those like late 90s, early 2000s.
That wasn't the greatest time. Yeah. Why is Papa Roach not your favorite?
Can we just
Papa Roach and Limp Bizkit not your favorite band?
But it is funny how Limp Bizkit were like the biggest band in the world, and they
Limp
just
Bizkit were the
dropped
biggest
off the face of the
They
planet.
released a new
They just
album.
released a new album.
Did they?
Actually,
Yeah.
See how much they've dropped off the face of the planet. I did not even know that. I can imagine.
It's actually there's one or two pretty cool songs on it, but that wasn't.
It's dad rock now.
It's
It is
dad
solid
rock.
dad
Oh,
rock.
well, then
yeah.
we've got to give it a listen.
Dad rock, dad pop. That's up my alley.
Yeah.
I mean,
When me and my biker friends are going for one of our rides on the weekend, when I really kick in my midlife crisis
Oh,
into gear.
so
need to get-
wait. What else are you gonna do? You're gonna wear leathers? Play Breaking the Law?
No, I'm
on
still
your
playing
Harley?
Judas Priest.
Oh, okay, still
So
listening to
that
Judas
never
Priest.
went. What I'm thinking of doing is, Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. So instead of like,
You're gonna go find Julia Roberts.
no, well, that's another thing. Who would play me in the movie? I'm thinking Denzel, but no. But what I'm thinking of doing is like going on a
Reese Evans? I think you have a Reese Evans.
Reese
look
Evans,
about it.
maybe. Certainly in the morning. No, go on, like she went on the sort of odyssey of like food and love and all that. I just thought I would go around playing the great miniature golf courses of the world and call it Eat, Sleep, Putt.
I like
Hey,
that.
I mean, we could do worse. I'll take you with.
I'll
We
come
need-
play Sea Point Putt with you.
Come, we
anytime.
need 4 for a decent
Let me
game
just
of,
tell you, I
of
was
golf.
A 4-ball.
You in, Rich?
I'm in.
Let's not talk dirty. 4 balls with my 4 balls and shit. Listen, let me just tell you, I was at Cave Golf not so long ago because my kids are into the scratch patch at the moment. So we
Yes.
go hang out there, kill a few
Yes.
hours there. And I played a round of Cave Golf.
Yes, we should just
You
tell the
should
people who don't
definitely-
know what the scratch patch is. It's like a place with a bunch of semi-precious stones on the floor, and you go digging around. It's got nothing to do with gonorrhea or anything of that nature. I just want to be very clear. Yes, and there's a little indoor mini golf thing
Yes,
just next
so
door.
you can include that in one of your Eat, Sleep and Putts
Well,
rounds.
that was cave golf was always a great option for when it was raining. So
It was the indoor putt.
Yeah,
Is there
yeah.
any
But
other...
that was it. That first hole had that steep incline that was like ridiculous.
Yes, there's you
Like
at our age we shouldn't be walking at such inclines, but there's
no,
there's
but
a
just
hole
to
there.
get it to get up. It's fine. But like when you were 6 and you had no
It's
coordination,
dangerous,
like
No. But my kids, we tried to play around it. It didn't work. It was messy. what balls were flying,
Prison
clubs
rules.
were flying all over the place.
Yes.
We're lucky if we played 3 holes, but I think you should.
Well, I have a dream, Dred, and when the book comes out and the movie deal, you'll remember where you heard it first. Eat, sleep, putt.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Or I don't know. It might just end up being eat, sleep, putts. I don't know.
And anything else you can think of doing in your midlife crisis? What do you feel like you've missed out on in life? What do you feel like?
Dude, if I start going down that road now, okay, with a full bottle there, it's going to get very ugly. No. I've got no regrets.
You got no regrets, eh? Nothing you would have
done
in your youth.
Well, it can only get us into trouble, so I think we better bring the guest on.
Let's move on. Yeah. That's it. Okay, we're ready for our guest.
I think so.
Okay, great.
I think, again, just like last show, we were ready like a half hour ago.
I want to welcome to the podcast the MasterChef Canada judge and restaurateur, my Instagram buddy, Claudio Aprile. Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, likewise. We connected over our Bedlingtons.
Correct. Welcome to our podcast. Yo, we came into contact on I tell everyone you're my Instagram buddy. We came into we came into contact via our Bedlington Terriers.
This is so cool.
This is so cool. Nice to finally meet you. Where did you first see those dogs, man? Where?
My first encounter with a Bedlington, his name was Ernie, and a friend of mine I was living in England, in London, and I took care of her dog for a weekend when she was away. And I just fell in love with this dog. Like, I was never a dog person. I actually didn't like them. I didn't understand why a human being would have an animal where you have to pick up its shit. You know, I just didn't get it. But when I met Ernie, I was just like, they're very special animals. You know, like they're like little lambs. And they're
dude.
It's.
Yeah, I mean, I called my first Bedlington Lambie because what else could you call him? It literally looked like a lamb, and I was like, my wife actually saw them online and she showed me a picture. I grew up with dogs, so I had like Rottweilers and Golden Retrievers. So my wife showed me these dogs, and I was like, we've got to get one of these things. They just look insanely like lambs, and they can't be for real. So there you are. We got Lambie, and you've got Jackson is one of your dog's names.
Yeah, I have 3 of them. So long story short, my ex-wife and I have two dogs, Jackson and Basil, and we decided to part ways, unfortunately, and I went out and bought myself my own Bedlington.
Okay, so does she still have the other 2?
Yeah, so Jackson are with her, and I have my dog's name is Amoeba. She's got like a very unusual name.
Amoeba, that's very cool. Oh, my wife, I've got 2 kids now. I've got a boy, he's almost 3, Rocky. I'm sure you've seen him going crazy on my Instagram, and my wife would give those dogs away in a second. I've had to hold on to them. She's got no time for them anymore after she had real kids. So.
But like, you know how certain dog breeds like have a certain personality that like fits the owner, like, you know, like a pit bull and a chihuahua owner, like you're not gonna like get one of those dogs by accident. Like, what do you think it is about like someone who's into Bedlington Terriers? Like, is there something about that like personality that, you know, just kind of says something about you?
Yeah, good question. Like, I don't well, first of all, the Bedlingtons, they don't shed, they have hair.
Dude, that is the best thing about them, right?
So it's for lazy people who don't want to clean up after their dogs and like have like crap on their couch.
I'm not allergic. There's no allergies, so that's great because I am allergic to most dogs. I also like I just like the way she looks. Like, she looks so cool. You know, she looks like she's got a little mohawk, and she's just a very cool little dog. You know, and super, like, the personality's very interesting. Like, she can be very outgoing, but also a little bit introverted. Which is kind of the way I am. But you're like, dogs for me, like, I just never liked the like very kind of aggressive looking dogs. I just don't. I mean, I had a bad incident when I was a kid. Actually, I got bitten by a dog, so that's always stayed with me. So
okay, so yeah, that's a good dog. Then they're not the greatest guard dogs, because I think if someone came in and checked this thing, they wouldn't be too scared of it. Bedlingtons.
Oh no, my old house got broken into, and both Jackson and Basil just watched.
Yeah.
They just sat there. It was like, oh, just the kitchen's there.
Yeah.
Don't touch my dad's cookbooks, but the money, there's some money in that drawer.
They're useless guard dogs. I agree with you, man. Because I had a Rottweiler growing up, and I promise you, if you came into our house and saw that thing, you would run. And he was named after the Godfather, so we called him Don Vito Corleone.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
So he was scary.
I love it.
Oh man, it's so great
But,
to meet you
go
finally.
ahead. Yeah. Same here. We have some similar taste in music too.
Definitely, I was gonna say, tell everyone we connected.
Yeah.
Also, it was the dogs, and then we were chatting, and then we are like, "Oh, you like this band? I like that band." I think we were talking about the Beatles or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Let's chat about
definitely. I think those are my passions. Like music and arts, travel, food, obviously, because I'm a chef. I love all those things, and I do connect with, like, I've always connected with people over like music in particular, and I've always like felt that those conversations are they're very stimulating and very easy to have. When you talk about different music and different genres and cultures, and like I've had so many great discussions about it. I find people that don't like music or food or art, I have a difficult time, and enjoying the conversation, because it's I don't like I'm not into politics that much, to be honest with you. Maybe I should, but I'm not. It's just not my thing. So like I've got friends that are very much into, like, they're very hard lined on their on what they feel, and I respect that, but it's just not my thing.
But do you think there's like a kindred spirits between guys who play in bands and guys who work in kitchens? I mean, there's the late nights, the crazy hours, the frenetic energy, the camaraderie. Like there's something there.
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, you look at, the late great Chris Cornell, and he was the sous chef in a restaurant, and I've heard lots of band members cook, they work in kitchens, or they're bartenders, or, waiters. And I think that there is a common, kind of a universal, language there. Like we do have, like, we can't really, like, a musician can't, I don't think, can be that successful unless they work with others well. And I don't think a chef can be successful unless they know how to work with others as well. So, but yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing, like, like cooking, like like you prep, your ingredients, you get them ready. And as a musician, I would suspect, you practice your instrument, you jam together, you get ready for the show, you do the show, and it's very entertaining. It's probably super scary to get in front of an audience, I would imagine. Um, for me, I always get, like, a little bit anxious when I'm about to open a new restaurant. For sure, I get anxious when that happens. So like there's a lot of lead up to this one little, you know, kind of meeting point where everything happens. All the hard work culminates, and then you perform. And when you're performing, like you don't really have, like you can't really hide anywhere. You're completely exposed. I find that really exciting. And I also like mistakes. Like I find, there's a lot of, like a lot of bands in particular right now they talk about the way they record, and they're like, they're doing things they're not, so there's no auto tune. It's very you're very kind of exposed, and I like that. I like it when you hear a mistake in a song.
You
I
did.
like that.
You're
And
so right. It's like the songs that we like the most are the ones that we kind of jam together in the studio, instead of one person's 10 miles away. While the songs that sound the best is when you're all together in the studio playing live. I assume that's like in a kitchen when it's working really well and you're all in tune with each other. You get your best kind of product. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure, it's a beautiful thing. It's like a dance, when you have a brigade, a team, and you're all working for the same thing. And from the outside looking in, it looks like complete chaos. Like I'm so fascinated by music and the way it comes together. And like I love, like, one of my favorite bands is the Police. And
Oh, Throwing out the
and
good
like
stuff.
how they can create like that, how they created that sound with just three of them. Like it's incredible, you know, like those albums are just they're incredible albums. I'm always blown away by that, you know, and then you have a band like Arcade Fire, which is, you know, they have like 15 musicians all playing, and it's incredible. So I just find that so great. Like I wish I could play an instrument. I'm hopeless
Oh man, this
at it,
time.
but
If I'm in Canada, I'm gonna guitar anytime, my man.
oh yeah, I would love
But I
that.
just want to say,
So
so
Jed, tell me about like your career path. So like you're obviously you have a band, and you're doing something, a solo project now, or
So yeah, I think you've heard some of our stuff. We sing in Afrikaans, so it's we called Frans of en Coke in die gevaar, which means the danger. I'm not sure why we're the danger, because we're not very dangerous if you look at us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've always been. I just want to say this is why I connected with this guy, because within 5 minutes he threw out the greatest singer of all time, Chris Cornell. You know, I'm an absolute diehard Soundgarden. Audio Slave.
That one hurt. That hurt. That really hurt.
That
me a
hurt,
lot.
man. That
Yeah.
hurt. Like I was
I
gonna.
didn't.
we
I
spoke
was
a bit
like, oh
about
my
it last
god, this
time.
is so wrong. Like I just, because I remember hearing him, the Jesus Christ Pose. I
Yeah,
remember hearing
yeah.
that
Bad
song.
Motor
I saw the
Finger.
video. It was like a late Saturday night on this kind of alternative rock show that was on Much Music here, and I was like, what is that? You know, and the voice, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's like. He's like blowing like Robert Plant out of the water, like his voice.
Oh,
You
dude,
know,
he's the greatest rock
like
singer of all time. I still, in my opinion, and I know you can't beat him. That raspy voice, like, that's amazing.
yeah, yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm always searching for new music, and you know, it's always on. I don't have a There's not a day that goes by that there's not music on. Um, yeah, like it's always there. It's important, you know. It gets you through things, and I kind of mark certain points in my life with certain albums, and you know, it's like a big part of my life. And I think, you know, restaurants, I think it's important to have, you know, music that's very thoughtful in a restaurant. I hate it when I go in and it's this incidental, you know,
So, do you actually
music playing.
select what you in your restaurants? What you the playlist is that? Do you choose kind
Yeah,
of? Okay,
I always, yeah,
that's
I have a
amazing.
big say in that.
So what kind of stuff is
There's certain
playing?
things. Well, it depends on the mood. Like I used to have a restaurant called Colburn Lane, which was fine dining. We did very experimental cooking. We were like the first restaurant in Canada to introduce um, you know, modern cooking techniques. And it was a tasting menu, anywhere from 15 to 20 course tasting menu. And I would like sometimes I would play like the entire Black Sabbath catalog. Like that's all I
Amazing.
would play for the whole night,
Well, as
or only Pink
as
Floyd,
long as you didn't
or
serve rat
sometimes it would be
salad.
mixed up. And then like in the management hiring manuals, you know, the last page it always said, you know, music needs to be exciting, unpredictable. There's certain musicians that you're not allowed to play here, like no Michael Bublé. You're not allowed to play any Christmas albums, like Mariah Carey's Christmas album will get you fired. Adele, you will get fired if you play Adele, because I find her music it makes me so anxious when I hear it. Everything's an anthem, right? I could not. I don't want to eat while I'm listening to that, or like, you know. So anyway,
That's
um,
amazing.
but yeah, I don't know. I think it's like I was talking, you know, a few days ago about how like how sad it would be if we didn't have any music. Like imagine if we never, as a culture, as humans, we never discovered music.
It would be a lonely
Like the
place.
world had, it would just be really bizarre. I mean, imagine that, like no music.
Dude, yeah, we were talking about on the last podcast. Are you a big Foo Fighters fan?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love them.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were the last.
You know that they played in Toronto when they went right, like when they were just starting off. It was Smashing Pumpkins, Foo Fighters, Pearl Jam, all together, one
On
show
one
at
bill.
Masonic Temple before they broke. Like you know the first Pumpkins album, Gish.
Yeah. Oh, is that the first?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
it's amazing. Like it's one of the best like grunge albums, rock
Jeez.
albums.
Do you know? I was thinking when you said first album, I was thinking Siamese Dream, but then
No,
I
it was
actually
before then.
was the one before that maybe. Yeah.
You got to go listen to Gish.
You've told me.
That
You've
album.
given me a lot of musical recommendations, man. Your knowledge is incredible.
The drumming in that album, it's just it's amazing. It's such a great album. Like it's amazing.
So you were at that
But
show.
yeah, I think it's a big part of it all.
You were at that gig, Simon, with Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I saw that gig. I saw Nirvana when they played. I think it was either Lee's Palace. It was like 500-600 people, and then I saw them again at a very big venue, like 3 months before he passed away, for In Utero. Like it was just amazing.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I mean,
that's
that's
insane. This
that's
man's seen
the-
Nirvana. I mean,
Well, that's
I
the
would
nice
love
thing
to.
also about being in Canada. When we're, in South Africa on the far end of the world, like you kind of get people either towards the end of their career, or maybe you'll catch like a great band. But there's so many people on our list that, especially like someone huge will come because there's a big enough audience. But there's so many bands that are sort of somewhere in the middle that are still great, but just commercially in the middle that we just know like there's almost no chance we'll ever see them here on these shores.
Yeah,
like
there's this documentary, Finding Sugar Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I went to that concert,
That guy-
Rodriguez. Yeah.
that first concert where
Yeah,
he was like
Rodriguez,
back from the
yeah.
dead.
Dude, he
98.
was
I've got
like
the T-shirt.
He was like a hero, yeah, and no one knew him anywhere else in the world except in South Africa.
I heard he was bigger than Elvis, selling more records than Elvis Presley in South Africa, but no one knew. But back here in Detroit, where he was living, he was like a construction guy. He was like, no one knew who he was.
I think it was
and
like
he
here in
just didn't
Australia.
care.
Dude, every house there was some statistic like 1 in every 2 households had a Rodriguez vinyl. It was like something insane. Like I grew up with that. It was Cold Fact. Hey?
Yeah, that was the first album.
We
yeah.
had that was
Yeah.
like as big as Elvis, as big as the Beatles. It was in our collection at home. My father had it, growing up. It was like
I mean,
he was massive, and no one knew him anywhere else.
I've got my theories on that. I think the thing is like Cold Fact. That was I think 73, 74, something like that. But by the time that rolled around, and there was a lot of sort of that like, anti-war movement and the drug stuff and all that kind of stuff. But like, obviously the comparisons to Dylan are there, but Dylan was kind of overdoing that stuff by the late 60s. By the time we moved into the 70s, they were like him, Jackson Brown, they were all kind of going through like their divorces and like, that sort of, Paul Simon, they were like in a very different space. But the thing in South Africa in those days, we only got television here in 1977. We were used to getting things like movements like 10 years behind
we were 10 years
everybody
behind
else.
everything.
So like when this came around, it still seemed fresh. But I think in the States and in North America generally, people are just like, we're a little bit over the sound by now. So I think that's why he kind of never kicked on. But like, now enough time had passed that people aren't really, you didn't have to worry about it being fashionable or whatever or in vogue. Like the music could just stand on its own.
Yeah, he's such a cool guy too. Like he just doesn't care about celebrity and very humble person, And I've seen the documentary twice, and I thought it was just so great, and his voice and the way the song structure is just beautiful.
There's some amazing songs there.
I remember, just being at that first concert in '98, where it was the first one where he came back, and he came out, he did one song, and then he was like, "Turn the house lights up." Because like he was so emotional and he just like wanted to see everyone. He was so taken by it. He played the rest of the show with the house lights up for like the whole show. It was like I'd never been like in a concert like that. It was like very moving.
Yeah, those are special moments, right? That you never forget that.
Totally, man. Didn't Chris Cornell have a restaurant in Paris? He owned.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
I mean, who knows?
Okay.
Well,
I've seen them a couple times. I mean, I saw them at Lollapalooza as well. But when I saw them,
did you see Soundgarden? Was it Soundgarden?
I've seen. Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I've
amazing.
seen them. And there was a little unknown. So there was a Lollapalooza, and there was like the main stage where Soundgarden was playing, and then there was a little side stage. They call it the side stage, where a very unknown band was playing their like first festival, and the band was Tool.
Oh,
cool!
Wow, Tool is great.
And he wouldn't even look at the audience. He was he was facing away from the audience, and it was like they were like the talk. Like everyone was like, "Who is this band?" Like their their sound is so unique, and like everyone from the Soundgarden show after that was then just went over to the small side stage to watch this little band play, who's become like now they're like they're probably many say same level as Soundgarden. Like they have a lot of fans, obviously.
I mean, you mentioned Tool. Whenever I think of Tool, I just think of those amazing videos, and I don't really miss MTV per se, but I do miss the art of the music video. Like there was something about a great video. I mean, you talk about Soundgarden, like the Black Hole Sun video. There was just something really special, but I feel like it's just like an art form that's died off.
No, definitely.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, it's expensive, and now we live in this culture where like I almost think like a 3-minute video is too long for people to consume. Like everyone they want to have like almost like a steady drip of like different things happening all the time, and it's like food's the same way now. Like like albums that come out are like there's only a couple songs on an entire album that are good. Like we don't it's just a very different way that people consume everything now. And like it used to be when I was teenager, like late teens, you had to decide which camp you were in. Like, are you going to be in the grunge camp, or are you going to be in like like Poison, hair metal? I
Yeah.
was a grunge kid,
Team metal.
but
or
you had
team.
to pick. You had to choose where you wanted to be, and now it's not cool to be in one. You have to be in all. You have to like, and you have to be like, you could listen to Soundgarden and also listen to Harry Styles now, and it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's just okay, and no one cares. But back then, you would get the shit kicked out of you if you were like, if behind the scenes, you were wearing like the grunge outfit and you were listening to like Lionel Richie, like
Yeah.
But now everything goes right, like everything's in. It's kind of a cool time, to listen and enjoy music. And I think even be a musician, because you have a very wide audience, and I think that it's like our tastes now have changed a lot. Like we embrace so many different things now.
And how does that translate to food, man? How would you equate that? You say like with people's attention spans, do you cook differently now than you would have like 20 years ago because of that, or 10 years ago, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like I never liked school. I was never good at school. I don't like to be told how to do things. I like to figure out my own way and develop my own style.
Can you see why I connected with this
so
guy?
for me, like my cooking style is very. What's that?
I said, can you see why I connected with this guy? I was like the worst student in the world, man. Terrible. Yeah, sorry, man. Carry on.
For me, it's more like I'm very restless. Like I like to explore different ideas, different cuisines, and 20 years ago, I was really into kind of like you know, if I were a musician, if I could like use a musician as an analogy, I was trying to be Eddie Van Halen with food.
Awesome.
And now I'm more like acoustic. I'm more stripped back. Like I like things a little more simple, more pure, less ingredients on the plate, like just more focus. I think when you're a younger man, I think you really want to flex and you want to show, how much and all the knowledge you have all at once. And when I think as you mature and you get older, you're able to, be more humble, in the way that you approach life, people, whatever, your profession. And I think that's where I'm at right now. And like I love watching interviews of people. Like I love watching, different shows where there's someone's being interviewed, and you can see someone who's very young in the way that they talk. It's very different than somebody who's older. I'll look back at like old footage of a film star or a musician, high profile musician, and you see that they change. You kind of soften in a way, in the way that you're more humble. And I think that's kind of where I am at right now, is just like learning more, listening more.
Dude, that's so true. It's like, I mean, I'm not going to equate myself to one of a high-profile muso at all, but if I look back on my guitar playing like 10 years ago, it's just like, check how fast I can go, check how fast I can go. And now it's like, how melodic can I play something, or how much nicer can I make it sound? Then it was like just as you say, flex, 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 speed. You know what I mean? It's so
Yeah.
true. If you when you get older, you change your ways like that.
Yeah. It's like what they say, like people with money will tell everybody, and people with wealth are quiet.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
people that have a wealth of knowledge sometimes are more quiet. They say they don't say that much, but when they speak, it's very compelling, and I really admire that a lot.
Definitely, man. That's good.
Let's talk a little about MasterChef, because I think we'd be remiss not to talk MasterChef Canada.
I'm very proud of it. 7 seasons is a great run, and I'm working on a new show right now. I have something different that I'm doing. I just finished shooting it 2 weeks ago. Um, but yeah, I think to me, I like looking at your work, and like looking back and seeing a body of work and different things and different places and different adventures. Like I I don't think I'd ever want to do something for like 20 years. Like I think it's healthy to change it up. So for
Seven
me,
seasons is quite a
Yeah.
lot. Hey, that's like 7
But I
years of
mean,
your life.
yeah. So I have a lot of things I still want to do. But I like, I want to look back one day and see like a mosaic of a really well lived life.
Definitely, I feel the same way. I wanted to say you're lucky you didn't have me in a contestant on MasterChef, because I would have made you chicken schnitzel in my air fryer. How do you, how do you,
How is that?
how do you feel
How's the
about
air
the air
fryer?
fryer? I have to ask you, as
I never used one. I would like to try it.
oh my gosh, I use it every night. It's the only thing I can use. I'm like the most. It's so funny. I've known you for so long. I've never once spoken to you about food. Your food obviously looks amazing from whenever I check it on Instagram. But I'm too scared to talk to you about it, because I know nothing about food cooking. I literally, all I can do is open my air fryer and put some schnitzel, some chicken breasts in, and that's
Oh,
about
that's
it.
the best. I love a good schnitzel. I'm gonna have to get into air frying. I'm gonna try it out.
What is this?
I
What
think you'd
what
be interested.
what do you make yourself like on a random weeknight, like a chef? Like what were you? Do you ever make yourself like a toasted cheese? My wife wanted
I
to ask. She
mean,
was like, you got to ask him what does he eat on like a random weeknight? You know what I mean?
my random thing is, oh, look who's here.
Oh, can we see the
Hey,
Bedlington?
Levi.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Here she is.
So
Here she
sweet,
is.
man. How old is she
All
now?
right. She's 4. She's born on Halloween.
Sweet. But they never seem to age anyways. I don't know if you mine are like 8 and 7, but they still feel like they're puppies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that she's very puppyish. Yeah, she just steals the show. Anytime she walks in the room, everyone's like, "What's going on?" Yeah, she's a great puppy. But my go-to is I usually do like salads. I like taking like getting like a barbecued chicken. It's ready. It's cooked. Chopping it up. Removing the bones. Throwing it in with some cucumber, tomatoes, mint, coriander, chilies, ginger, olive oil, some grapes or apple, some kale. Really simple. I love that. I always feel good when I eat that.
And
That sounds
get,
amazing.
I think give us some tips here also with like people with young kids. I don't know if your kids are good eaters or if like the cobbler's children always go barefoot, but what's like a couple of good go-to dishes that's not just like fish fingers and ketchup that they'll actually eat?
Um, hmm. I mean, pasta. I like teaching my kids. Like I've taught my kids how to cook, so they know how to make, French omelets, which are tricky to make. But my daughter knows how to do that, Isabel. Um, and like pasta, they make that. She knows how to make, homemade like
So
fresh noodles.
actually makes her own
Um,
pasta. I've got a lot of work to
yeah,
do with my kids, man. They're
yeah.
eating well, it's Woolworths. It's like our nice supermarket. They eat like the meals. I put it in the microwave.
What's a good age for that? To like, I mean, at what age do you think your kids were? You didn't have to worry about them like burning themselves or chopping off a finger. Like, what's a good age to throw them in?
I mean, my daughter's been cooking, and my son since they were like probably 5 or 6 years old. I put them in the kitchen. I taught them, you know, where products come from, and I take them to farms. I want them to understand, like, it's a big cliche, now with farm to table and all that, stuff. But I want my kids to know, where how food is produced, who's making this food, who's growing this food. Like, it doesn't just arrive at the grocery store. And I think it's important for everyone, non chefs, to know how to open an oyster, to know how to steam a mussel, to know how to make a simple tomato sauce or a soup. I think they're very cool things to know, right? Like,
Yeah.
how impressive is
I've
that?
got
You
a
go on
lot
a
of work
date
to
and
do, man.
you cook for your, your the person you're on a date with. Like, people love that.
I think there's some of that, like how we feel about music, that like we wouldn't just put the kids in the car and turn the radio on and lead them to the devices of like whatever playlist they've been, commissioned to play. Like, you gotta get those foundations.
I'm drilling in the Beatles, man. Hey Jude's
Yeah.
my kid's favorite song at the moment.
Yep.
It's not my song, Hey Lou. It's Hey Jude.
Yeah.
And just Beatles and the good stuff, drilling in.
I think
the
that's
good
so
music.
important. I've done the same thing, with both my kids. I was with all my kids. I have so many children.
How many kids do you have? You got 2 kids, right?
I have 2, Isabel and Aiden. But yeah, I've always made it a very, like, a priority for them to know about music. And I want to say good music, because that can be very, very subjective, I think.
Not on this show.
But yeah, I mean, but like, yeah, it's been important. Like, it's funny, my daughter, when she was like 11, she put on the Pixies,
Oh yeah.
Oh, great.
followed by the Ramones.
Oh.
Oh, you've raised them right.
I pulled the car over. I looked at her and I said, "I have succeeded as your father."
Yeah.
I've done a good job.
You did a good job, man.
Nothing more you
Right.
need to do.
Right. She hates auto tune, like anything that sounds manipulative. She does not like it. She plays guitar, plays piano, she dances. Like, she's a great musician. She's got a great ear for it. She learns the way I learned too. Like, she doesn't like to read music, even though she can, but she does it all by ear. Um, and Yeah, it's funny. I watched an interview with Stuart Copeland, and he did a Police song with an orchestra, and then in the interview he said that, some musicians learn by sight, by reading, and some learn by ear, and he learns by ear. Like, that's how he processes music.
Yeah, and orchestra
Not by
guys are all
sight.
sight musicians.
Yeah,
It was
they're
very hard
sights.
for him to make that transition and doing the score for them. Yeah, it was a great interview.
Hey man, I want to backtrack a second. I forgot to. We were talking about. I was with the first podcast. We were talking about Taylor Hawkins passing, because I was so bummed about that. It was literally, it played on me for like a while. We had the opportunity, our singer and I, to play a couple of songs before they played here in Cape Town. So we met them, and they were like the coolest dudes ever.
Wow.
But yeah, that really it was one of the things we spoke on our first podcast was really upsetting, and like we're trying to decide, do you think the Foo Fighters will ever play again? So
I mean, I don't know. I hope they do.
Yeah.
I think Dave Grohl he's like our generation's Paul McCartney. I mean,
definitely.
he was with the biggest band in the world, leaves, and then becomes the biggest band in the world.
Yeah.
And he's just such a talent, obviously. I don't know. It'd be great if they did, but it would also be super cool if they said, no, we don't. We're not going to move on. Like, when Bonham died,
That's exactly
Led Zeppelin, they stopped. And I thought, you know what? That's something cool about that too, right?
We were saying the same thing. Like, how do you replace someone like that? It's almost impossible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think sometimes, like, we're spoiled. We think everything's going to last forever, and like, now with social media, where, there's not a week that goes by that we don't hear about, some tragedy, or someone's passed on, a celebrity, a musician, an actor, like Ray Liotta passed away
Yeah, I
today.
saw that right now, man. I was a
Yeah.
massive
No,
Goodfellas
that's-
junkie as well.
that's-
All those.
Oh yeah, horrible, right? But it kind of wakes you up in a way to think about really appreciating, you know, the people around you and the music they make or the food they make or, you know, the people that are in your life, to really be mindful that, you know, this, none of this is a dress rehearsal. Like life goes by so quick, you know, like it's so fast, and to really like enjoy it as much as you can, and like, you know, surround yourself with, you know, like good people, and the people that you care about, you really show them and tell them, and, you know, you love them. I think that's so important, you
Definitely,
know. And
man. We were
like
talking.
we lose sight of that. We think we don't understand time, but it's ticking every day. It's ticking, right? So I think to be, you know, to be mindful of that, I think it's really important, especially after COVID. I think about that a lot. Having like, you know, we've all had, you know, 2 years to think, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
kind of like
I mean,
be with less people and do less, have less activities, and really focus on, you know, on the really important things.
I think a chef and a musician were in the same boat during COVID. We're both unemployed.
Oh yeah, it's tough,
Yeah, no, it was
very tough.
totally tough.
Shall we do the Give Me Five, shall I?
Yeah, can we ask you a couple of questions?
So we've got these
Yeah,
5
let's do
standard
it.
questions that we ask all our guests. First one is, what are you listening to at the moment?
Oh, on at the moment, and this is on repeat. The first time I heard one of their songs, I literally, I started to well up. Like it was really, I don't know what, something about the voice and the music. Uh, Tom York has a solo project called the Smile Band.
I've heard
Have you
about it.
heard
I've
it?
heard it when I did a solo thing.
I haven't
Oh my
heard the
God,
stuff, but yeah.
it's beautiful. Like there's a song called something in the knowledge, something happiness in the knowledge, or knowing in the knowledge. It's like, it's just such a great album.
Must check that out. Are you a big
Um, I'm
Radiohead
I'm
fan?
yeah, I'm excited about the new Interpol album that's coming out. I'm a huge fan of them. Um, there's just a lot of great stuff happening right now. Just so many different bands, and there's like no shortage, you know. Um, I got into Thundercat when that came out, like the
Thundercat's
last
great.
Thunder. Wow, what an album! That guy's just what a great musician. Um, yeah, I mean, one of my favorite albums of all time. I love Octoon Baby, U2's album. I think that's one of the greatest albums ever. Um, you know, OK Computer, obviously, it's on everyone's short list. Um, Ghost in the Machine is another one I still go to all the time. I love that album. Um, yeah, there's just so many bands to choose from.
Next
You know,
question. What was the last thing you watched and enjoyed?
I loved Dune. I thought Dune was just like 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 there was nothing wrong with it. There was not one scene that was, everything was so beautifully shot, and the story, and um, really enjoyed that.
Were you a fan of the original or the book, or was this like your first
The
foray into it?
the most recent Dune.
Yeah, but I'm saying like,
Yeah.
were you into the?
Oh, you know what? I wasn't. I was more a Star Wars kid. I honestly, when I saw Star Wars when I was a little kid, I believed, and I was told, I was lied to, that you could actually go and become, you know,
A Jedi.
like a Jedi. I thought that that could happen. There was a place, a school,
My
you
friends
know.
call me Jedi. That's the closest I've ever gotten to.
But I mean, the original Dune, for a police fan, you've got the Sting. Well, I wouldn't say cameo,
Yeah.
but he was in it. You know, that was maybe the only thing missing from the remake.
I'm gonna go back to that and watch it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's aged
But
well.
films, you know, films like one of my, I love Lost in Translation. I think that's
Oh yeah,
it's one of my
that's great.
favorite films. I love that a lot. I just saw Fight Club recently that still holds up.
That's great.
You know, anything with Martin Scorsese, you know, like I think he's like, you know, he's the best.
So
There's
while
no one
we're
better
talking
than
about
him.
film, actually, and Scorsese and Goodfellas, like, I mean, as a musician, sometimes you can see music being portrayed in film and you go, they got it so right. And sometimes you can think, they got it so wrong. Is it the same? Like, is there movies where you've seen not necessarily about cooking, but with cooking in it, and you go, they paid attention to detail? Like the Goodfellas scene about like the razor blades with the garlic. Like, can you actually slice garlic so thin that it liquefies in the pan, or is that all just like BS? And like what
That's
like
true.
cooking on film
That's
that
true.
you just love?
I love that scene. That's a great scene. I love the Black Mass with Johnny Depp. There's a scene in that movie where he says, "So, how do you make the steak so good?" Have you seen that? Have you seen that scene in
I
the
don't
movie
think I've
with
seen that movie.
Johnny
I know
Depp?
the
I need
movie,
to
but I
watch that
didn't see
now.
it. Yeah. The Whitey
And
Bulger
and the
one.
guy and the guy says, he goes, "Oh, the secret is, we put, this is what we do. I think if we put garlic or soy sauce, something, I don't know, forgot what it was." And he goes, "So, how do I know you can keep a secret? You just told me your secret." With that, it was such a great scene, and it's so
I must watch
powerful.
it. I
Like,
haven't seen that.
you know,
I'm thinking now
yeah.
of Casino as well, where he's going on about the milk-fed veal. You remember that one?
And he also wants the
Yeah.
donuts cut the certain way.
That was
De
the
Niro
equal
wants-
amount of blueberries in
but
each
the blueberries
muffin.
in the muffin. I want the same amount of blueberries in each muffin.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it to
Yeah.
be uneven.
I
Yeah.
love it, man. There's so many good films out there, and like this, there's a movie called The Big Night.
I love
is,
that movie.
that's
That
such
is
a
one of
great
my
film.
favorite movies of all time. You remember that one?
No, I
Stanley
haven't seen-
Tucci and Tony Shalhoub, and like they're restaurateurs, and they're like trying to get like a famous person to come to the restaurant, and they're waiting for Louis Prima to come, and it's like, well, I won't
I
spoil
must
the
watch
movie
it. I
for you,
haven't
but
seen that.
yeah, that was a great film.
Oh, by the way, we're drinking some, just in honor of you being our guest, we're drinking.
Canadian Club. Beautiful.
So if we sound a little bit drunker,
I think we've held it
What time is
together pretty well.
What time is it there now?
It's
9:20.
in the at night.
It's all right. I thought not in the morning.
Yeah.
That's civilized. So, how's your podcast going? How many guests have you done yet? Like,
You're our
actually our
second.
oh wow,
Second guess, man.
very cool. Very
It's,
cool.
we've never chatted before, and then I threw you in the deep end, onto the podcast.
Yeah, but it's so cool of you to want to do it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
So the
It's very cool.
The third question of the Gimme Five is guilty pleasures. Do you? I mean, we normally do it around like music and stuff. You can do whatever you want, but maybe it's around food or.
Guilty pleasures for me, for food, are donuts. Like I will go to our local, like the donut giant of Canada, which is Tim Hortons.
What's it called?
And
Sorry, say that again.
Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons. Okay,
They
cool.
call it Timmy's.
Timmy's. Ooh.
And I'll order a dozen assorted donuts, and I will eat them all in one sitting. I'll stay in my car. I'll go to the darkest part of the parking lot in a plaza, and I will crush 12 donuts. And I get rid of the box. Like I make sure it's like there's no evidence.
But you look very slim, so you look very slim, so you don't have to worry, man. You eat those donuts. It reminds me of have you seen that Louis C.K. skit with the Cinnabons? He's stuffing them in the hotel room. Do you get Cinnabon? Is Cinnabon there in Canada?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
We do. They're good. Music wise, I don't have any really guilty pleasures, but I find like I just like everything now. Like, everything. There's nothing that I'm embarrassed that I like. Pretty well all music. Yeah. Like, yeah.
It's also, I think, a sign of mellowing in your old age. Like we were talking about earlier, like you kind of had to flex a little bit, maybe. And we were talking about musical taste, like there's stuff that just kind of, I don't know, you just be like, live and let live.
You had to hide the fact you love Genesis. Now you can just be honest about it.
The next question is someone in your industry that you don't feel gets enough credit.
Oh, that's a good question. In my industry. Huh. I don't know. I mean,
it could even be someone that's big, but you just feel that they should be, placed on an even higher pedestal.
I don't know. I think the people that I really admire get a lot of credit. There's a chef that sadly passed away a few years ago, who I was very lucky. I got to spend a few weeks in his kitchen. His name was Charlie Trotter, and I feel that he deserves more props for his contributions, like what he did with cookbooks, like publishing cookbooks, his restaurant,
What kind of food was
his
he?
influence,
What kind of
his
food
food
was
was
he?
like very global, like a lot of different techniques and different cultures. He was a really like he was a true visionary. I don't, I think that, some of his kind of like persona is shrouded in mystery a little bit. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but I think he definitely deserves to be recognized as one of the greatest, American chefs for sure. But there's so many. There's just so many wonderful chefs out there.
Great. And then the last question is something we call dad advice. So the best fatherly advice you've ever given or received.
Pay close attention to the people who celebrate you when you win, and also pay close attention to those who don't celebrate you when you win.
Okay.
That's very good,
You
man.
That is
know,
very good.
I like it.
And I think that one of my good friends told me one time he had like a few months left to live. Unfortunately, he passed away, and he said to me, make sure that the people that you love, you tell them how you feel about them. Don't hold back on that, because you don't have forever, and you don't even know how long you do have. But just make sure that you call. Don't text all the time. Call. Get really make an effort with those people, because one day, he said, they're not going to be here, or you might not be here. It's interesting advice, actually. I don't mean to end on a downer, but I
No,
thought that was
well,
really
no, we're not going to end it on that,
Dude,
because I can't let you go without asking you this question. Later this year, it's the World Cup, and it's not likely, but it's not impossible that Canada and Uruguay might face off. We know you're born in Uruguay, but raised in Canada.
Oh.
If it should happen, who are you pulling for? Don't sit on the fence.
1,000,000,000,000%. I am voting. I'm going for Uruguay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's no way. I've never veered. My uncle played my great uncle played in the first two World Cups.
They won the first two, didn't you? Or they won the first
They
one.
won the-
They won the
Oh,
first
wow.
two.
So your
won
uncle
the
was a
first
soccer
two.
player.
Wow.
They won the
He's
the
a
first
double
two.
World Cup
Yeah.
winner. That's mad.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How old were
I
you when
love
you
it.
came
So-
over?
I was 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 years old.
And it's that strong.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, I love it there. It's when I go back, it's home. Like I feel so like at ease, and it's a beautiful feeling. It's a very mysterious, magical feeling, because I don't know why, but I feel, oh, you're one of me, and you're one of me. Oh, you look a bit like me, or we act the same. It's like you feel like you're part of something that's bigger than you. And I mean, I love Canada. I'm grateful to live here. It's an amazing country. Like we are, I believe, so advanced in so many different ways. The way that we we embrace different people from different places. You know, like racism here is not a cool thing. We have strict gun laws. We don't care, about same-sex marriage. You do whatever you want here. I think it's a cool place to live. We have, I don't know. I'm really proud of this country. It's a great place, honestly. Like I've traveled a lot. I've never experienced like we're just cool. It's a cool place. Like, everyone fits in, everyone belongs. We don't use the word tolerate. We don't tolerate people. We welcome them in, and it's a very, it's got a cool vibe. Like like my neighbor. His girlfriend's from Afghanistan. She makes beautiful food. Like it's just a very kind of like, it's like just like live and let live kind of culture. Just it's a wonderful place.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, great. Well, South Africa unfortunately didn't qualify, so we'll be pulling for Uruguay too.
What was the pull for Uruguay? Yeah. Hey,
Remember Cameroon one year, one of the cups played really well.
Yeah, I think they got to the quarterfinals or something.
yes, that was
crazy
the
like
World
that.
Cup. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
in South Africa, no?
No, that was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Senegal
Yeah,
went
it's-
really
What's
far.
we had the
I'm
World
talking
Cup,
about
yeah,
like
man.
the Roger Miller days of Cameroon. Unless it's Senegal, you're
No, but it
thinking
was.
Wow.
Yeah.
But dude, it's been amazing
Very
having
cool.
you on this podcast, and it's
Yeah.
so nice to finally meet you.
Thanks so much for coming
Oh,
on the show.
my pleasure, man. My pleasure. It's great to connect.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
hopefully you guys tour Canada one day.
Dude, I will hit you up if we ever come that way. I don't know how well the Afrikaans music will go down. I mean, you've heard an Afrikaans song before. I don't know how it will translate with the.
I love it.
You like
That could be kinda
Tufintika?
cool.
You've heard
That's
Tufintika,
very cool,
yeah.
man.
Man, I'll definitely hit you up if we
Awesome,
come
man.
that way.
All right, guys. Well,
Thanks so much for
your
being
time.
here.
I appreciate it.
Cheers,
well.
man.
Take care, man.
Take care, dude. Cheers, bro.
See ya.
How cool was it chatting to Claudio
That was
Aprile?
really cool. That
What a
was
cool
great.
guy. I
Nice
knew
guy.
I liked this guy the first time we chatted. He likes Bedlington Terriers, Soundgarden, a man close to my heart. He
It's a
can cook
trifecta.
like a motherfucker.
If
No.
you weren't already married yet. But no, I mean, it sounds kind of weird, but MasterChef renewed my faith in humanity.
How was
Yeah.
that so?
Well, it's like if you think of like reality competition shows, we'll just let the awfully loud motorbike go past.
That's
the
you in your
studio.
midlife crisis.
That's me in my midlife.
Driving
It's calling
past.
to me.
But you're
It's a
sitting here.
sign.
But you're sitting here on the couch.
The only problem is I have terrible like core strength and no balance. I can't even ride a regular
Pilates,
bicycle.
my brother.
Yeah, but I
Pilates.
will first corner. I will fall off that motorbike
Pilates.
and I'll be like a skid mark on the road for life. No, but so like a lot of the reality competition TV shows, like if you think that like the last 20 years, the big game changers were American Idol and Survivor. Survivor was just people at their worst, most self-serving. It was a horrible like side to the human condition. And then like Idols, okay, maybe towards the end was okay, but in the beginning it was just this like freak show, because you know how it is, they would like weed out all the people in the middle and only have like really good people and really like terrible people, so we could all like stare and gawk and like laugh at me, and this was horrible. But like MasterChef is just like positivity. It's like all good. Like no one's getting slagged off. No one's but it's huge, like all over the world. So maybe I don't know. Maybe we're not like a lost cause as a civilization, and we'll have MasterChef to thank, and people like Claudio and their part to play in it, rather than the Simon Cowells of this world.
I agree with you. And he seems like a very, very cool guy, knowledgeable in music, knowledgeable in cooking.
Yeah.
Got some great dad advice there. Tell the people that you love them before it's all over.
He seems
I
like
totally
very
agree.
Wise,
Yeah.
deep soul.
Definitely. This is the Living After Bathtime podcast. See you in the next one.